up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. Go get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight. Welcome to Burnin Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Valentine's Day, huh? Hope it's been all right for you. I don't particularly celebrate Valentine's Day much at all, and I guess I just don't have much use for it. But my wife likes it. My kids love it. My nieces love it, and I still don't do anything for it. I refuse on a principled stance that it's just it's a made up holiday meant to make little kids fat and candy and greeting card companies a bunch of money. So yeah, I won't tolerate Valentine behavior in a woman. Don't believe in it. No, anyway, every now and then I'll buy my wife some chocolates or flowers or something, and I like doing it not on Valentine's Day, just and then writing a note like shit talking Valentine's Day, just because, out of principle, because fuck Saint Valentine. And I don't know what he did. I was baptized Catholic, but outside of that, I don't know a whole lot about it. I was not in there long enough to get touched by a priest, so thank God for that. I think you never know in the long run of things, but I'm going to go ahead and just chalk it up to good luck that didn't ever happen, because it seems like that usually doesn't turn out real good for a feller when you get touched by a priest at a young age. I don't think you end up well in life. So yeah, I'm pretty glad that it did not stick around in the Catholicism long enough for that. But yeah, so therefore I don't know what the fuck Saint Valentine did. The Catholics are all about their saints, and yeah, I don't know what he did, but anyway, they twisted to whatever this priest turned saint did. They made it into like just a very commercialized holiday, and I won't stand for it. Humbug. I'm like the guys I was talking shit on last episode about not watching the Super Bowl. Now just flip it right around, and I'm the guy that's like, yeah, you're an idiot for doing Valentine's Day. Even though sometimes even on Valentine's Day, I'll get some chocolates or some flowers for my wife and say this just because I love you, not because it's Valentine's Day, which is a stupid made up holiday. And and sometimes I run out of space on the card, reiterating how stupid and pointless and commercialized and really, if you think about it, just a slap in the face of God and one of his holy men by taking such a courageous hero, Saint Valentine, who I don't know anything of what he did, but I'm sure his great works. He's a saint, for Christ's sake. Like they don't make those very often, as far as I know. Once again, didn't get very far into the Catholicism. I think the priest tells you about the saints as he tickles your balls. Maybe. I don't know. I said, not very far into the Catholicism. But whatever Saint Valentine did, I'm sure it was saintly and great and awesome and did wonders for mankind. And we've turned his great saintly works into this gross deal where like women are demanding our love and shit. You know, like, what the hell, man? And then they expect us to spend money, you know, on chocolates and, you know, take them out to a nice dinner. So you got some wine and you're eating rich food. And so like they're forcing you to spend money on all this stuff that's going to make, you know, make them maybe a little bit heavier in the saddle, if you will. And not necessarily that's a bad thing. At first, it's pretty good, and then if it gets too far, and you're like, hey, well, that's not what I signed up for. You know, I was just trying to get laid, man. And so, I think it's a stupid holiday. You know, if you guys wanna grow fat together, you go fat together on your own terms. All right, you go eat the rich food and wine and dine each other because you want to, not because Hallmark says you had to. And I'm pretty sure the priest that didn't touch me would agree with that. Pretty sure. So anyway, fuck Valentine's Day or something, whatever. But I was kind of when I was sitting here thinking and listening to some music and just going down different rabbit holes, and I always, you know, like I didn't really want to talk about the news. Aaron was taking his lady on a Valentine's Day date because he's stupid and gay, and a sucker for falling for a, you know, whatchamacallit, Hallmark holiday, you know, greeting card holiday. Yeah. Some stupid card maker told you gotta go love your wife tonight. Idiot. And so when I have these kind of wide open, I try to do some sort of a historical episode, and sometimes you can get way bogged down into the subject, and then it doesn't work for like a quick little historical episode. But I wanted to focus on women in the West, the Old West, in light of Valentine's Day, and it kind of like the more you read into it, it's no wonder the cowhands were just some wild, crazy fucks. First of all, there was next to no women in the Old West. They outside of the native women and like some Mexican settlers, you know, old Spaniards and whatnot. The white women, they were pretty few and far between. And the ones that came, the most of the ones were there were school teachers or whores or some mixture of both. But most of the time it was just the men that went west, built a home, and then sent a letter back and said, all right, or went back and, if you didn't have a crop to harvest, maybe you went back and moved your wife and kids out. But more often than not, you made arrangements so that they got on the next wagon train out there. And but needless to say, you know, it was a lot of dudes, real sausage factory, the Old West. If we're being real honest about it, it was mountain men and trappers and soldiers and ranchers and just, you know, like the pioneers, you know, some homesteaders, and 99% of them almost were dudes. Like, just they were saying it was something like less than 600 women were actually school teachers in the Old West. Like, you know, they're the old school marm. really didn't come into play till like the turn of the century, of the 20th century, anyways. But it was, it was mostly, it was mostly whores, and a few wives that came with their husbands, and then more as time went along, but. Not much of a Valentine's Day, like unless you were some, honestly, when you have to go back to some of those old ranch deals, and read through, because I'm not exactly sure how when you weren't getting ready to gather and drive to the railhead, in the 50s, 1850s and 1860s, and up until the real trail drive stopped once the railroad became well established in throughout the West. I'm not sure what they did the rest of the time. I mean, you drove your herd to the railhead or to market or wherever you were going, and then that's where the movie ends. I guess if you read Charlie Russell, you might just ride back down to Texas and help gather up another herd, and so that's part of what they did. But like that was during after the Civil War, when all the Confederate men went to fight, and their herds just kind of went fucking everywhere in Texas, and I'm sure Arkansas in that area too, but mostly Texas. But I guess it was right in that Texarkana area, so where the settlements really were in Texas at the time, so. That led to the boom of the cattle industry, because there's just nobody tending herd during the Civil War, and man, when the war ended and everybody got let loose, there was now all of a sudden there was a bunch of men that were forced to fight, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of men without a job, and a lot of times without a home left to go back to, because it got burnt to the ground by the Union Army. So they just headed west, and sometimes they had a family, sometimes they didn't. But what was the first thing they could do? Well, they could go round up a few wild cattle and make a few bucks here and there. There was the Army was always needing beef, and then you're like a Union soldier. You fought this 4-year war against your sometimes your own kin, and now you're like, you either go back home, and some of them stayed in, and if you stayed in, you kind of went west and fought the Indians, and so they always need a beef supply. If you're gonna have an army, you gotta be able to feed them. And so you had those Confederate soldiers, which I don't know how that worked. Like former Confederates joining the Union Army after the war, because I would imagine there was a few, but I have to look into that. But a lot of cases, you had Southern boys driving cattle up north from Texas to feed the Union troops that had just been fighting a couple years ago. And if you don't think they knew that, I think you'd be wrong. That led to a lot of shit on the frontier. And anyway, long story short, there weren't a lot of women around, and there was just a bunch of just hungry, like on edge dudes that just wanted to fuck something. So I can't imagine being a prostitute back in the old West. Like, it probably didn't last long, but my God, it was probably violent. Just yeah. Have you ever watched, like, it's like a frat party, or like when the Cowboys come to town for a weekend, like something like Elko, or like the National Finals Rodeo down in Amarillo. I haven't been to the one in Winnemucca yet, but I'm sure it's the same way. But yeah, you get a bunch of young dudes like that, and just full of piss and vinegar, and haven't seen anything but the guys they ride with and cows for months, and they're headed straight to the whorehouse. And those poor old gals. Yeah, so that was mostly the women you saw in the Old West was just the whores. Like that was that was kind of it. And I was looking up on the school teachers, and I don't know if it was like written down anywhere, but it seemed to be like the common practice that the woman teacher was not married. Once you got married, you were no longer the teacher. And I don't know if that had to do with I assume because you're going to have to take time off from school to go have a baby and such. So, and then also I don't know. I imagine that was kind of the main reason for it. I don't know. Maybe a favoritism with the kids. I don't know why they wouldn't let a married woman teach school, but it seemed to be like that was kind of the deal. Is like once you got married, you were no longer the teacher. And most of the women teacher were coming from like the New England area. Like that, they were the first ones in the country to kind of lean more towards women educators, as opposed to the South, where they were like predominantly male. And it didn't really change as they moved west. Just like they were from the New England part of the world, they had women school teachers, and if they were from the southern part of the world, they had men school teachers. And the men had a little more leeway than the women, but the women, like, you couldn't go if there was a dance in town, you couldn't go to the dance. You couldn't go to any of the parades, whatever. I guess you couldn't whore yourself out. You know, you're here to teach children and not look at any adult men. All right, just and they didn't live by themselves. They usually stayed with a family who had kids in the school. Whereas if it was a man, he had a little house for him and his family, but it was like a one room shack. Once again, men win. We just fucking rule, you know. Just fucking doing it up all the time. Hey, look, I know you're enjoying this show that we're balls deep in here, but I got to pay some bills around here, and this company, Bub's Naturals, they are helping me do so. And they also sell a lot of good stuff. So you go to bubsnaturals.com. It's named after Glenn Bub Doherty, who was a special operator, CIA guy. Was one of the guys that was killed during the Benghazi raid. His best friend started up this company kind of in honor of him. They're both very active guys, and they wanted just good, clean supplements, and that's what these are. I take the collagen in my coffee, along with MCT oil. It's a powder, kind of very, very slightly sweet, like very faint sweet taste to it, but also got a kind of a creamy texture. It's good stuff. They also have coffee now. I haven't tried it yet. Might have to. And looks like maybe they got some like Gatorade type mix, but it's all good, clean stuff. Apple cider vinegar gummies, which are awesome. Apple cider vinegar is great for you. Collagen supposed to what do they say on this? Let's take a look. It fuels the body while replenishing amino acids that turn back the clock on aging. And it's supposed to be good for your skin and your joints and your hair, your nails, all the good stuff. It's
Yeah, just a scoop in your coffee. It's flavorless. Don't taste it at all. And it just it's good for inflammation and all sorts of good stuff. All in all, these guys pay me pretty well when you guys buy stuff, so please do, and I highly recommend their products. Like I said, I take them every day. Got this stuff on order. And the gummies I've got coming every couple of weeks. Help me kind of stay halfway young. I know my hair doesn't look it, but I'm not that old yet. So and I want to be able to wrestle around with my kids and beat them for a long time yet. So like I want to dominate them, so they know that I'm the alpha. And so I'm doing all I can to to kind of help stay one step ahead of those little fuckers. And Bubs Naturals does it for me. helps get me there. So anyways, go to bubsnaturals.com. Use the promo code Burnin Daylight. That's all one word. You'll get 20% off your order, and I will get a commission on that. So thanks to Bubs Naturals. Go check out their stuff. I think you'll like it, and I know I do. So bubsnaturals.com, promo code Burnin Daylight for 20%. Now, we can go ahead, get back in to the show.
Yeah, so that you look back across history and you're like, where the fuck does St. Valentine fall into any of this? Like February 14th in Wyoming in 1873, you're probably looking at 3 foot of snow and the wind's blowing and you're trying to warm up. I don't know, like maybe you'd have some calves then. You just kind of you ran your bulls year round, and I would imagine your cows would kind of acclimate to where they're calving quite a little bit later than February. But I don't know. Like it's another one of those things that I need to read up a little bit more on how that worked. If they're what the different seasons were work wise back then. But I would imagine, like, there's that scene in Monty Walsh where they're warming up a calf, but I wouldn't imagine back then, given they didn't have near the technology we have today. I wouldn't imagine there was many people just dead set on having their herd calve in February, up in that like Wyoming, Dakota, Montana territory, Nebraska as well. But I don't know that for sure. That was kind of like it was a lot more to put up hay back then, and so feeding cattle in the winter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was I have to look into that. But either way, if you wanted to take your sweetheart to town on February 14th back in 1873, I guess maybe you could take the hard ride into town and buy some time with the working girl, but that's probably all you're gonna get. And I never even. This is how much I am anti Valentine's Day, because I will not even look it up to see when it became a thing, because it's stupid, and I know it's probably like 1965 or some shit like that. And we act like this is a big tradition. You know what? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now just to prove a point. And if it's like 400 years old, I'm gonna say it's a 400-year-old stupid tradition. Valentine's Day origin. It originated as a Christian feast day honoring a martyr named Valentine. Through later folk traditions, became a significant cultural and commercial celebration of romance and love in many regions of the world. It was a feast day honoring a martyr. This dude died for Jesus. and we sell a bunch of Cupid bullshit, and candy and roses. I don't know. Maybe it's got a little bit more tradition than that. But anyways, I think it's stupid. And it's again, I'm not fully Catholic. Didn't get far enough in to know the significance of it. And it seems a little weird to put a day observed for a martyr for the church, and somehow correlate that with taking your girl out to a fancy dinner so you can get laid. I don't know. I don't see the correlation. Maybe this was back in the day when the priests could fuck still legally, or and it was not considered against their priestly duties to do so. I think I don't. Once again, not real Catholic, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. Yeah. Anyway, February 4th, 1873. I bet you there was nobody in a line camp up anywhere in the West or at any sort of ranch in the West that was celebrating Valentine's Day. I would bet good money on it because I know there's no way to prove it. So, well, I guess unless they find one case of. So anyway, I still bet good money on it that not one person on a ranch in the Old West period, as we know, from like the 1860s to the like the early 1900s, say 1905. Bet from anywhere in that period, there was nobody on a ranch that was celebrating Valentine's Day. I almost guarantee it. And now it's almost like an expected deal. It's just like, it's like how many people have broke up because of Valentine's Day? I know I did one time, and it's just what a stupid thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I know the ladies seem to like it, but it's dumb. Anyhow, I never liked St. Valentine. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to support the show, please go over to patreon.com/Burnin Daylight and subscribe there. You get some bonus content from time to time. Most of the time when I have guests, we'll do a little extra for you for the Patreon crew. So and the Fence Post politics get a little weird on the Patreon segments. So and that's also the only place I live stream. Everything else I put up as a recording later on. So Patreon's the place to go. Please go check it out. And yeah, move your ass. We're Burnin Daylight.
Day. And old St. Francis, man, he's the best. He helped me get some things off my chest. But I never liked St. Valentine. I never liked St. Valentine. No, I never liked St. Valentine. He's breaking hearts all over town. Patrick, he had his own day too. Except on his day, you can go get drunk and nobody will get mad at you. You don't have to be Irish. You don't even have to know what it's all about. You can spend the night alone and you won't feel left out. But I never liked St. Valentine. I never liked St. Valentine. No, I never liked St. Valentine. You know, if you perform 2 perfect miracles, you're still just a regular guy. Perform 1 more, and you're a saint. Even think St. Christopher's a saint anymore. And jolly old St. Nick, look it up, he used to run around with whores. Some saints ain't that saintly, and that's fine. At least they don't come around once a year to remind me that I don't have a Valentine. I don't have a Valentine. I don't have a Valentine. You know I never liked St. Valentine. I never liked St. Valentine. He's breaking hearts all over town.